look at all those stories. So without wasting much time, my name is Patricia Wayua. I am joined by one Lena Mati. There's Alfred Makoti, and we also have another guest. Let me see. Why am I forgetting the name?
Easier.
Samuel.
Matthew.
Yes, Matthew.
Yes.
Samuel.
Yes.
There's a Samuel somewhere, I know. Yeah, so we are going to do this together tonight. Remember, we are doing this from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. 3 hours full of content. Let me say content. Yeah, so full of insights. Therefore, please join us. I told you 88.8 concerns you here in Nairobi, 90.7 in Mombasa, Radio Gen KE, that is on our social media platforms, and on our online platform, you can be able to follow us. That is at rgk.co.ke. And therefore, starting us off, I have played a lot of clips already of so many things that happened in the course of the week. But let me start with this one around health and hear what the CS Health Duale said this week.
And that's why since I went, healthcare workers ask the doctors union, ask the UHC staff, ask the other leadership, ask the whole sector now has stabilized. But there are people who want to earn their living by using the healthcare workers in our country who are doing amazing work. Without healthcare workers, UHC and Taifa Care and universal health coverage will not be achieved. But they should not use the healthcare workers as bogies.
Well, I will start just by a question to our panelists, and the question is, what the CS has said about the stabilization of the healthcare sector. I mean, the health sector. Is it true, according to you? We start with Alfred.
Thank you, Tricia, for the invite. I think CS Duale, according to me, is a very good politician come CS. I don't see much that has changed in terms of the healthcare in the country, even with him coming. But I see a lot of bullying. You remember when a journalist tried to ask more questions about the payments of SHA, about the SHA scandal. I think he was chased out of the press conference. Nowadays, you don't hear much on health reporting, and any small issue that is reported, there's a harder pushback from the CS. Yet, from the experience, when you interact with Kenyans, they still hold the same complaints. They still say at some point SHA is not working very well. They have to go out of pocket to cater for their health expenses. So it just speaks to a lot of political management that comes with a lot of bullying, which I don't think it solves the situation. It means that when he's not there, or if there is a national health emergency, it's when now all these things will uncover themselves. So when CS says that somebody is using our doctors, I think it is prudent that he mentions the person. I was also expecting we hear more progress on the files he took to DCI, the files he took to EACC. If indeed he was claiming the problem in SHA comes from the healthcare providers who are trying to defraud the SHA fund. Mm-hmm. So according to me, there's high-level political management of health, which works in the short term, but in the long term, I don't see it working per se for the sake of Kenyans. That is my take.
Okay, thank you, Alfred. And just by the way, you did not introduce yourself and tell us where umepotelea wapi. Actually, let's first of all go around and introduce yourself. Najua nimewasemea majina, but you can say better, yeah, with whatever you're doing, and majorly what you were up to this week. Then we continue.
Yes, sure. Okay, my name is Makoti Alfred. but I recently graduated, so some of my students and colleagues call me Dr. Makoti. But outside the academic realm, I think Makoti is easier to interact with. I teach international relations and diplomacy at Kenya Methodist University. This week has been fairly fast because of the holiday we had yesterday. A lot of exams going on in our system. That is because I teach in a private university. I know in the public universities, people are still now, the semester is picking up because of the recent strike.
Sure, yes.
Yes, but this week has been very eventful, but unfortunately this morning woke up to news. We lost one of our leaders or former leaders from Western, Honorable Chironga. I want to pass my condolences to family and friends and all the people in Kakamega.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tricia. Good evening to our viewers. My name is Lena Mati. I believe I'm not a visitor in this Jerusalem. I've been here before. I'm a lawyer by profession. I'm also a champion of democracy. Thank you so much for having me. My life has just been normal. Like my friend.
Democracy. Okay. And a Gen Z.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me today. My name is Matthew K. Samuel. I'm the current chairperson of National Youth Empowerment Forum. At the same time, I'm a Pan-Africanist and an advocate of East African in the Department of Youth in ESE. At the same time, I'm an accountant by profession, and I love this country, and we just need the best for this country. We are not enemies of anyone, but we just need the best for Kenya. Yeah, that's who I am.
Welcome to the Generation Report.
For the first time.
First time. Yeah, this is a show. Actually, it's a show whereby we look at the big stories of the week, and we don't just look at them. We just look at them deeply and be able to get a different perspective around those stories. Because of course, I know people have read news, but then we want to give it a new perspective. Sure. Also, want to inform the decision making and opinions, shaping opinions in the country through the discussions that we have here. So you're welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I do follow.
Oh, you do follow.
Yeah,
thank you.
I'm
Thank you.
a bigger fan for this show actually.
Okay.
Because it gives me the brief of everything that's happened during the week. Because of our busy schedule, you find yourself you cannot get each and every detail each and every day. But through this show, I at least we get something and very benefiting for the society.
Thank you. Najua sasa amemaliza kila kitu. Amefunga. Yeah, so welcome back Makosi, welcome Lena. So let's continue with the conversation. Like I had played the clip about Duale healthcare, him saying that healthcare, since he took over, the charge of the ministry, healthcare has stabilized in the country, and Makotse has said that in the short run, yes, but in the long run, you're seeing problems. So let's hear what Matthew has to say about this.
Maybe first I want to agree with my doctor here that CS is a good politician and not a good manager at the same time, because if you see whatever has happened in not only health, maybe because we are talking about health, let me focus with health, but with the entire cabinet under the government of Kenya Kwanza, you get to realize that many of the things that are happening are short term, in nature. These are things that are going to be to bring impact in the next 8 months to 12 months. But when you're trying to look into this, when we are singing each and every day, Vision 2030, we might even not get to that Vision 2030 with the mediocrities that have been going there. So if CS can come and tell us that some people are using our doctors, it's like you are the owner of the house and you're coming out to tell people that someone is sleeping in my house. So who is supposed to be telling who what? So I think I don't agree with whatever CSC is saying. Though on the impact at short run, I can agree. But at long run, whatever is happening in the health sector, it is going to affect our generation negatively and a big time. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. What we really want, I don't know whether we want it. There's something that we want in our minds, but in the actual sense, I don't know whether we want it.
We are not ready to pay the price for it.
Yes, we are not ready.
We are still stuck in comfort. And you see, I don't want to agree with President Ruto, but here I think I need to agree with him, is that for development to happen, for us to be able to get to that first world country, we need to leave mediocrity behind. I think the problem with Kenyans is that we want to still stay in the comfort. And of course, sometimes it's not easy because this is a path that we've not walked before. So sometimes you are a bit pessimistic because you don't know where the path leads. But I think the ignorance that we are witnessing with our people, and also not just the ignorance, but also the lack of the will to do something. Like for instance, with the youth, whereby you just stay at home, you would rather watch video game and not go and vote. And yet someone that is 105 years, they are being willed to go and vote. You see? So there is lack of willingness by actually the generation that needs to care. So I think basically that ignorance and lack of willingness by the people is something that we will keep paying a price for. Yes.
There's something that you touch about sacrifice. I think we really lack the sacrifice to get us to where we really want to go, because I'm just imagining the 500 shillings that somebody is just being given, bribed to vote in the wrong leader. That 500 shilling, if I may just ask Kenyans, that 500 ulikula siku ngapi? No. By the way, that is the question. Like, umeikula siku ngapi?
Even not a day.
Because that is the honest question that people really need to ask themselves. Like, when you're there and accepting bribe, you'd rather don't take that bribe, because of course it will not take even for a week. At the end of it will not take you for a week. But if you refuse and getting the right leader, he will take you some miles ahead of where you're really going.
And you've been talking, and I've been reflecting, and it has just reminded me something I was reflecting some of my friends. I think the sacrifice, the good leaders, the vision, I think it has to be worked on, starting from a foundation. And I think the foundation is patriotism. And when you speak about patriotism, you're speaking about the sense of belonging to this country. I think if Kenyans could just have the love for this country, and the love, you cannot love this country just all of a sudden. Those days when you used to have 844, there used to be something called loyalty pledge. We used to sing the national anthem. I don't know if those things still continue. I think generally there is low patriotism in the Kenyan population, especially among the youth, among the young people. You'd find somebody is willing to do anything, even we are willing to engage in any kind of transaction for us to get rich. And it has come to be in this manner because we are seeing our elder generation, some of them, especially the most successful, it's not because of merit or because they are very clever. You find very clever people, very good people who are in business, and they are not able to bribe somebody maybe at KRA or at whatever ministry to get a tender or to bypass some taxes. They remain where they are. And people who are easy to get out money to cut corners, they're the most successful. They get very good jobs in government. They are PSS, they are CSS, they are heads of parastatal. So it really discourages the patriotic nature of the young people, who are the majority. And when now they say, let us go and register, you'll find only 300,000 young people going to register. I think the older folks, those who are above 70, are more patriotic. That is why they are not giving up on this country. They would still find them being willed, trying to get out and vote. And most of the time you'll find they vote to protect to protect the gains. The young people and the fairly 45, those who are not economically endowed, ukiangalia wenye wanachukua pesa sana ni vijana. Yes, you won't find. I've gone into rallies and immediately the rally ends, the politician says mpange laini ya vijana ni refu sana. Ya wazee, it's usually the shortest. Some of the wazee, they finish listening to the rally and they go home.
And they go home, yes. So I think we really have a lot of work. If we really want to get to Singapore like our dream is, we really need to do a lot of sacrifice, a lot of listening, a lot of researching, a lot of reading and so forth. Well, kwa hii barabara kwenda Singapore pia nimeona
Snaro.
Nyembamba sana. Ile ni nyembamba sana. Tunafinyana hapo katikati, but lazima tutafika kule. Well, I'm also looking at maybe some of the structures that the capital structures that the government is really putting in place, like the roads. Talking of industrialization and talking about the roads, of course, I think the roads also up to northeastern region are also going to open up things. I think especially in terms of trade and so forth, I think it's also gonna work for that. But again, now as a government, these counties, I know this capital assets are quite expensive. Like when you talk of we want to harness water, from the rainfall, I think that is not a 1 shilling thing. It's a millions of cash. We are talking of a lot of funds that are really required, and that is the reason now we need the input of the national government to support these counties. Yes, maybe some of them, they have those ideas, but they are not able to put them into practice because, I mean, they don't have the capital, because these capital, I mean, they are massive.
They're massive, yeah. And maybe this is I have been criticizing on what the government have been doing, but maybe for the first time, let me say the idea of Kenya Kwanza government, when they were talking about in the finance bill, when they are talking about let it be an equal share to these counties, I think it was a good idea. This is a one nation. The fact that Nairobi is giving in more revenue than Marsabit or than Wajir, why should we continue putting more in Nairobi than we are trying to forget them, that we are giving in accordance to the percentage? So I think that's another thing.
Well, I think they talked of one shilling.
Yeah.
One vote.
One man, 1 shilling.
One man, 1 shilling. One man, one vote, 1 shilling. Right?
Yeah.
Such a thing. But I feel like the equalization fund, that marginalization, that fund to equalize these people, mi nadhani kwamba wanahitaji waongezwe.
Lakini hiyo fund haifanyi kazi. Hiyo fund inaenda kwa mfuko za watu. So because now that's why we talk about the system. If you hear them talking, they protect about the system, because system will put in a place whereby they confine you.
So we have touched on so many big news that happened this week, and we are still continuing with the conversation because it really matters. So this week we had Mashujaa Day.
No.
Not Mashujaa Day, Jamhuri Day. Sorry, I don't know why Mashujaa is always in my I'm like, but when you look at these two events, actually, I usually look at them like they are just more or less the same.
Yes.
Yeah, you look at whatever we celebrate, you look at what really happens. The design, they are almost the same, but it is Jamhuri Day. So these Jamhuri Day celebrations were done at Nyayo National Stadium. And I'm going to start with this. There was the issue of the jet panic. Jana. So I don't know. Did you attend the the Jamhuri Day?
No, I did not attend, though I observed it from my television. Yes.
Makotsi?
No, I didn't.
Yes, I did.
You did?
Yes,
Tell us what happened.
So maybe I can say is first, let me first start by saying the government has really tried in one or the other to make sure that there's that inclusive when they are inviting this organization, these people, and bringing in those people to make sure that they attend the government gatherings. That's number one. But what happened at that place is those jets or the aeroplane, I don't know what the pilots had eaten, but they were flying at a very low place. So I really think they should consider a lot of things. First, those people that are attending, then the area where they are, because there were commercial places, residents at the same time. You don't know people that are attending. Mtu anaugua ugonjwa gani, so you can't do that. And it was very, very much a lot of panic. Unlike the other days, you see them flying very, very high. This time round, you could see it actually. Very, very. You could see it.
You could see the pilot inside.
You can't see the pilot, but in fact, for the helicopters, you could see the pilot because they were very low. The one that had with the Kenya flag. The jet itself, the one in fact that made President Ruto almost to fall down, it was rotating. Just you can see it, the way it is rotating and doing its thing. So, yeah, it was one of the things. So I don't know why the pilot did that.
Let's hear what they said about the jet panic.
So far I don't think there's no damages regarding for health-wise injuries or anything, but it costs people a lot to repair the glasses and so on because the jets flew lower than expected. We hope our government considers the damages and compensates us for what happened. People were frightened instead of them being happy and celebrating today as a public holiday.
Yeah, well, it might sound funny, but it led to distraction, to losses. Now the government is supposed now to compensate the people who are affected. Like if it is a sound that is really shattering glasses, it's anyway. Let's continue. Well, let's look at the main thing.
But on the same note. Every time I hear or I see those jets, what comes, as well yesterday it occurred to me, what comes into my mind is, if we are a middle income economy or a third world, we must be having very old version of those jets and able to shatter glasses flying that low.
Yes.
What is happening in Syria? What is happening in Israel and Gaza? And what are those children feeling? Because it means that a 1-year-old must be feeling 10 times the impacts if he's in Gaza or in those places where we see on TV that buildings are destroyed by a single missile. So I think it should really open us up in terms of our commitment to humanity in those areas that are worst affected by these kinds of, because these are weapons.
Sure.
Actually, if it can pass Nyayo Stadium at an angle that we cannot see, it means if it lands, there's so much damage.
Yes.
Yes. That is what comes into my mind every time I hear people complaining about this was too low, this was too loud. Yes. Well,
maybe what was your take home from from the Jamhuri Day celebrations, maybe we can just highlight that because, like she said, she hasn't seen anything new in these celebrations. She's saying that they are year in, year out, just same thing. Yeah, so because she said that the president will just come in and tell us what he has launched, what he's planning to do, and that is it. But maybe what is your take home from the yesterday's celebrations?
Yesterday when most of the leaders were speaking, from the governor, the deputy president, and the president, they were really appreciative of all the champions of independence, the people that fought for the independence of our country.
Mm-hmm.
And I went further and looked at our first manifesto, the KANU manifesto, and the KANU manifesto was driven by the need to gain and maintain independence. And I remember addressing a particular crowd along Thika Road. Mzee Jomo Kenyatta said that if you don't have self-rule, we cannot be able to determine our rights. We cannot be able to determine whatever it is that we want. And by that, he was trying to say that the aspect that we don't have that independence makes us not to be able to determine the kind of healthcare system that we want, not be able to determine the kind of economic development that we want. We cannot be able to determine the kind of education system that we want. But for us to be able to determine all that on our own capacity, we first need what? We first need emancipation from the colonialists, who are now the whites. At that particular moment, the whites and the colonialists were our major problems.
Sure.
But now, 60 years later, the white man has left, but an internal enemy has risen up.
Who is our enemy?
And this internal enemy is my brother and my sister. It is no longer the white man that used to exist in 1960s. Now, when I'm looking at the progress, while I appreciate what we have done, and I appreciate all the people that fought for the independence that we have as a country, I'm also wondering, what steps have we taken to move beyond what they have done? Have we deteriorated, or have we gone further and built on what they have? And one of the things, in as much as we are trying to measure our progress with regards to 1963, that cannot only be the yardstick that we are using to measure our progress. Remember, we are in different times, we are in different dispensations, and the circumstances are completely different. So when we talk about the progress that we have made right now, we are looking at it in terms of our bold and progressive constitution. Has there been adherence to the constitutional values that we have? Has there been adherence to the rule of law? Has there been protection of the human rights? Have we worked towards the economic development that we have set in place? Those are the things that we are using to measure the progress. Because I have seen a challenge whereby we are saying, you know what, in 1963 we were here, we have made major progress. That's okay. In fact, as a human being, we cannot. Sometimes when you look back and say that when I was 18, this is what I used to do. But you cannot just measure your progress when you are young. You have to measure your progress. If you are 30, you have to look at your progress as a 30-year-old person. Are you in the same category, or when you're looking at the circumstances and other 30-year-olds, do you think that your progress really matches to that kind of environment? You cannot say that, when I was 18, I used to sneak out from the house. Now that I'm 30, I no longer sneak out. You are 30 years, so you need to be accountable. You need to be responsible. It's the same thing as a country. And so I'm looking at the progress, and I'm looking at the progress right now in respect to the constitutional progress that we have made, thanks to the people that fought for our independence. And when I look at it, I think we are still deficient. We have things to do with human rights. We need to look at that. We are still not where we want. The president has been talking about the national economic freedom. So this stage is more of economic freedom more than political freedom that we sought 60 years ago. So when I'm looking at the basis looking at this baseline, the scorecard, I still feel like we are deficient. I appreciate the progress that we have made as a country 60 years later, but I still feel like, looking at the circumstances whereby we are more empowered as a country, we have more resources compared to this particular moment, we are more learned as a country, we are still falling short of the expectations that I would want as me as a Kenyan citizen. Yes.
You got me imagining that, thinking that right now as we speak, we were fighting the Muzungu.
Yes.
Right? We were fighting the Muzungu rule.
Yes.
Right now, we got other enemies on our way in the 62 years. We got other enemies. The enemy, corruption.
Yes.
Because corruption then wasn't that an issue because we were not the ones who were ruling ourselves. So now that we are ruling ourselves now, other enemies
Have
cropped in.
Yes.
Wakaingia pale. We are talking of tribalism. We are talking of such things like repression. We are talking of such issues like corruption. So now, like she's saying, now you need to think now as a 62-year person, we are comparing ourselves with other governments, other countries who are who attained that self-rule like us 62 years ago. Where are they right now?
And you see, Tricia, the thing is that right now, that particular moment we were toddlers. So there are things that we could have exempted ourselves from because we were still figuring things out. Things like corruption, we were still figuring it out. How do we deal with these? But right now, whereby we have developed, we have a judicial system, we have a way of governance. I mean, the way we measure our progress ought to be really, really high.
The toddler corruption grew together with us.
It has now an adult.
Okay, let's hear. Matthew, give us your submission around that.
Yes, Patricia, what I came to realize when she was talking, when you are talking, and I think Dr. will be still escalating on the same. Not early. I think last 2 weeks we were having a Pan-Africanism conference in Tanzania, in Arusha actually. So one of the things that I was handling or I was tackling is neocolonialism. This is a system whereby everything is now put in a way that it suppresses people who are living in the same nation. And the people who are conducting neocolonialism currently are now the system or our own leaders. When president is talking about economic freedom, I agree with the president 100%. But he is talking about it and he only has vision about it. But the problem is who is going to help in implementing all these things, because the implementation of economic freedom is not going to come from heaven, or is not going to be bought from somewhere and brought in Kenya so that everyone is economic free. It is the structures and the system that are going to be put in place, attracting more investors, bringing the structure of education whereby the people who are going to be nurtured are not only gaining the economic part of it, but at the same time are being empowered with the skills and the ability to give the input to the nation on its own. But now see what is happening currently. The CBC that we were given, what is the value? They told us this is whereby children will start knowing who they are at a tender age. Yes, well and good. After knowing who they are, what is the environment that is being put in place for these people to venture whatever they understand about themselves into the market space? Now that's one of the problem that we are having as a nation. The IT, how many IT labs that the government has shuttered for the people who are very much passionate about IT things? None. So the children anakujua about IT and all those things, yes, they have understood themselves, but where are the structures and the values? What about the business people? What about the industries? In Western, we are talking about the shattering sugar industry like Mumia Sugar, which has been there. It was beneficial when we were growing up. I was educated by the money from Mumia Sugar because my father was working there. But look currently where Mumia Sugar is. It is only packaging sugar. It is not processing sugar. And the government should not lie to us that Mumia Sugar is processing sugar. It only buys sugar, imports sugar from Mexico, packages it and sells it to its citizen. There's nothing else that we are talking about. So when I was trying, even if I was invited at that place, the only thing that entertained me is the jet, when it made everyone to be fair. But when we're talking about the agendas, we are still in old Mzungu version. In fact, Mzungu was even better. Sometimes we feel that Mzungu was better. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because
Cannot be better.
what was not you see why I said sometimes we feel we reach to the level where we feel. I remember one of the how do they apartheid activists said, give an African the gun, they will kill themselves. Give an African the power, they will use those power to oppress those who are weak. Yeah, give an African the mandate to organize their own government. They will go and borrow the constitution from another nation and come and try to implement it and want it to work the way it is working outside there. That's the problem with what we were given. It's like we took what we wanted, those people who were there tried to gain what they could gain, then later on left the government to the people who are strong to lead the nation. Now it is the survival for the fittest.
Thank you for your submission. Let's hear Daktari.
I think my take home, apart from the jets, I think we are over 60 years after our independence. Independence is something that should be taken very seriously. You can imagine countries that are fighting to control themselves right now, like Palestine, like we're talking about Ukraine. There are still people who are struggling to be fully independent, fully Taiwan, fully recognized. So it really speaks to what we are as a nation, not even as a country, as one people. And it should go beyond talk. It should go beyond speeches. If you look at the Chinese march to commemorate their independence, when the Red Army won, I think it was in 1949, thereabout, you could see, you could visualize more than hearing. You could visualize the country's progress in terms of their military capability of defending themselves as a country and how much they have invested in their military. And when you talk about investing in their military, it means they have also invested in their economy, in their health. So yesterday, I think it could be the first time we could move away from very long speeches and actually showcase what we have invested as a country in the last 60 years. What is the difference between the first Jamhuri Day and the 63rd or the 62nd Jamhuri Day that was held yesterday? There's not much difference. The first, I think Jomo Kenyatta was talking about disease, poverty, and
ignorance.
Ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the same issues we are talking about right now. I think, and that now calls us into order and reminds us that we should take our independence seriously, because other countries are taking their independence very seriously. As he has just said, Singapore, right from the beginning, it took off. China, right from the beginning, you can imagine the level China is going the next 10 years. There could be the same power with the US. What about Kenya? Other people are making strides in ensuring that they have the best out of their citizens. We are taking some of our best to go and work in some of these countries as a formal agreement. Some of the labor agreements are taking one of the best brains out of this country to go and empower or develop countries that are already developed. Leave alone the formal. There are even other informal. There are countries you don't have a labor agreement with, and very best engineers, best lawyers are going to work in those countries. What are we doing to harness the bright minds we have in Kenya here? So the take home, of course, Ruto talked about a continuation of Singapore building roads, building a super highway from Thika to Museum Hill. I think it should move beyond the talk. It should move to how many people have we pulled out of poverty. We just had a release of an Oxfam report saying that 1%.
125 Kenyans.
Yes. So when you look at those reports, sometimes you imagine, and you can clearly see it. When you're going home, you'll see somebody with a brand new Range Rover, and you'll see another person being rained on in the same street. What does it speak to? It speaks to a high level of inequality. It means at some point our systems are not working so well. Yes. And if the same situation continues the same way, I think we won't be celebrating our independence. A country like South Sudan independence ilipita kawaku celebrate because the 1% in Sudan kept on empowering themselves to a point that they are now using the 1% are being used to fight each other, the two generals. So if the situation remains the same, I don't think we can have this Jamhuri in the next, like in 2024, if whatever happened was left to happen, that means in 2025 we could not be celebrating. It calls for a sudden shift of us realizing that we, the citizens, and we, the leaders, share the same country, and we should do all that it takes to make sure that everybody feels part of this country.
Well, you put it rightly. I think the first step, like he's saying, us wanting to start at stage 4. Yet there is stage 1 whereby the stage 1 is whereby we are talking of bridging that gap. Yeah, narrowing that gap between that inequality, between that having these a few Kenyans having billions of money and then a majority being down. There is a very big gap inside there. Apo katikati. Yes. A very big gap which really needs to be filled fast.
And it speaks to the kinds of even jobs people are willing to go out of this country to do. I don't see why we should go so low that somebody gets a job ya kwenda kuwa house help in the Middle East, where every day we have a report that somebody has died or somebody is being mistreated and
yes.
people are still willing to go. It means they are so desperate in their own country.
I think the call to the government and especially to our President William Ruto, even as we journey towards Singapore, please look at the gap. The gap between the rich and the poor. It's quite big, it's quite alarming. Otherwise, you'll get that a section, the 1% will arrive in Singapore, while the 99% will be still stuck here in the country.
They will not arrive in Singapore. I was just imagining when you're talking about the drought, if the president and the whole government could have taken this speech about Singapore and about roads, Mau Summit, Rironi, Thika Highway, and they put it in Garissa or Wajir or that area that is experiencing the drought, would those people relate? They will not relate. Even when he goes there, he cannot say Singapore. He cannot say housing. He cannot say infrastructure fund.
Sure.
He cannot say that talk. That is the talk the president should be talking, should relate to all levels of people in this country. Yes. If it only speaks to a certain region, it means we are not a country.
Mimi kwanza acha nikwambie, when I'm hungry, we cannot have a conversation.
And that is the
kama nikonja, we cannot tell me to accompany. Where are we going really? Where are we going?
You know, stomach speaks louder than brain.
True.
because that's why even our politicians mastered the art of doing what? Of putting that, of confining that system, whereby when they give money, they make sure you live in poverty, so that when they come with the money, you will take it. You know, you won't refuse, and it's very much easy to compromise sometimes
to convince a hungry person.
Because you can check the low class in Kenya, it is at 77%. When you're talking about middle class, it's 24.1%, and now the first class, those who are well, at 1%, and majority of them are old money, and some of the investors who have come from other countries into Kenya. Then some of them who have tried wamejaribu hapa na pale, they are at middle class at 24.1%, and now we are talking about 77% of Kenyans who are living at a red line poverty level. This is so alarming. Then when you are coming to tell us about Rironi, you are coming to tell us about Barabara, three-way or what, people won't relate the way Dr. has said. No one will take it, in fact, whatever you're saying. And that's why you get, they are building the roads, wanaeka pale the barriers. In the morning, you get the barriers are not there. It's not the citizens that are taking those barriers. In fact, it are those people who put the barriers, they come at night to take the barriers because of the all corrupt system that is already in place. That's how we are living.
Well, quite important. So like you were saying, it reach a time when now we're gonna lose the meaning of these celebrations that we are talking about, like Jamhuri Day. We are talking of we were given that self rule. So now we are expecting that now that we are ruling ourselves, we know our problems better than Muzungu. Muzungu never know, because first of all, our color is different. they don't know when we are hit by the sun, like we feel different. We don't feel the same. So those are that is just an example of the differences that we got. So a black person understands you better. Understands you. Your neighbor, a leader from your region understands you better. So we are expecting that they understand our challenges and they are able to get a solution to our challenges. So that is that. I don't want us to get into that. I just want us to touch on something about what Bob Jagia has said as we cross over to Uganda, whereby the police there said that they've started investigations into whoever tortured those Kenyans who are across in that country. So the Ugandan government police, they say they're investigating. Now, if it calls to discipline those police officers, they will do so. But Bob Jagia has said many things. I talked of repression, the enablers of repression, the same manner in which, like, he was abducted, and that really speaks a lot. I don't know, what are your submissions? Just 1 minute each, because we really need to finish up whatever we have.
I was actually attending some event that was organized by the Kenyan National Human Rights Commission together with Frederick Norman Foundation. And one of the things that I learned from that, because they were launching a report on the human rights violations, one of the things that I was able to get was that the key guardians of human rights are actually the key violators of those human rights. So when you talk about the institutions that have been mandated to protect against the violation of human rights, they're actually the ones that are contributing to that violation. And so these they were able, they came up and said that because of that, it is now the work of the citizens for us to be able to stand up for ourselves. Then I began to ask myself, there is what we call the social contract theory. The social contract theory demands that I cede some of my rights to you as government, and then in exchange you will protect me. Because if we all have the rights to protect ourselves, we are actually going to fight with ourselves. So at the end of the day, we will not have achieved anything. That is why now the legitimacy of governance comes into play. That's why we have now institutions that are fully funded by taxes of the Kenyans to be able to protect us. But if those same institutions that are funded and they have been given the ability to protect us are the same ones that are harming us, we become very vulnerable. You see, and now the aspect of Safaricom. You know, I'm a lawyer, but I also don't want to be too extreme.
But actually, we don't want to mention companies.
You don't want to mention companies.
Yes, institutions here. Yes,
but I really acknowledge that we have enablers, and those are the ones that are giving or providing a conducive environment for the actual perpetrators to come in and violate, the rights of these human rights defenders. I think the issue of human rights is really a very critical thing, and it's always triggered. Anytime that people are fighting for their rights, there is always that trigger of human rights. So I don't know what you're going to do, because I cannot even talk about strengthening of institutions when these particular institutions are not even taking any action towards defending me. So I'm now left in a state of limbo. I'm like, what should I do? Do I protect myself? What should I do?
And you can't protect yourself.
And I cannot also be able to fully protect myself. So I am in a state of limbo. Probably my brothers will enlighten me on what really needs, what kind of framework needs to come into play.
I think what's really needs to be done is people to take responsibility in terms of if a gun has been used, a government gun has been used to kill somebody. I don't see why that police officer should continue being a police officer as an individual. Yes, not really
institution.
Yes, as an institution. Yes, and it should really come out to individual prosecution to those who violate human rights. If your data was disclosed and it was used to track you down, to harm you, it should go down to that officer in whichever company who gave out your location without your consent, and individual prosecution to
take responsibility,
to take course. Yes. So I think it really boils down now to our judiciary, because we have a lot of human rights defenders who are doing everything possible to protect Kenyans or to protect these rights. It is the judiciary to ensure that they dispense these cases expeditiously, so that it can deter other policemen, other enablers of human rights violation, and there should be a heavy fine. I don't see why compensation of the young people who lost their lives in the Gen Z protests has not been done. We have the Kenya Human Rights Commission, we have Treasury, we have the whole institution of government running. I don't see why we need a commission or something, I don't know what they call it, to investigate and document whether and when we have even in a span of 1 week, Kenya Human Rights was able to document that 57 Kenyans lost their lives. Those people should have been compensated in this financial year. Yes. So I think we should take more responsibility as Kenyans, and it is the judiciary to guide this process. If today a judge says that government pay this guy, compensate, I don't think government would go against that ruling.
So you feel like the judiciary is really failing Kenyans?
No, we should just take maybe those cases have not reached the judiciary.
You see, Tricia, before, when we talk about judiciary and everything that comes with judgment in terms of compensation, number one, for you to be compensated, we first now need to determine the liability. To what extent was the government liable?
Yes.
Then once you have gotten the liability, you can now determine the compensation, now what we call the damages. So in as much as probably I would want the compensation, and I think there was a ruling that has been given lately by the High Court with regards to now the mandate of Kenya National Human Rights Commission, because they were the task force that had been formed to compensate was found to be unconstitutional, and the same was given to the Kenya National Human Rights Commission. So I believe that in as much as we are talking about compensation, there first needs to be there's a legal path to that. We first need to determine liability and all those kind of things, though I agree with him fully that there needs to be compensation of victims of human rights. Yes.
Violations, okay. Yeah.
Maybe because I don't want to take much time, Lena and the Wakili and Daktari, you have just said it all. Anything called independent, run away from it. In Kenya, run away from it. Anything called this is corruption, all those things, these are the same institutions.
Corruption-free zone.
No, nothing like corruption freedom. This is called now independence to do what human rights and what. There's no need. Why bring all these things? These things are there. The videos, the footage, everything is there. So why should we take long time? You know, they always say, and Wakil will agree with me, justice delayed is justice denied. So why wait till all that time and everything you already have? So me, I don't think if I agree with anything about forming all those things. What I believe and I understand, and I really urge each and every individual, let this human rights organization be well funded and just try to do their work the way they used to do. We used to fill them in from between 2004 to 2014. We used to feel indeed this organization are there. So the moment they can come back to where they were and try to avoid being lured easily by the politician and this heavy money, then we are good to go. But what I can urge each and every individual, your safety starts with you first. So there's no need to leave kujiachilia, putting in mind that human right, hakuna kitu kama human right itakutetea. So it's better you take care of yourself first before now we come on the something to do with human rights. Yeah. Thank you.
I don't know what are your submissions, because up to today, with the president, they are feeling that the demonstrations were not really done by Tanzanians, that there were forces from outside. The road and the journey to justice also becomes hard. So I don't know what are your submissions.
Maybe I should start. I am feeling so much about the Kenyans who are in Tanzania. I am very sure there are Kenyans in Tanzanian jail, or Kenyans who are either they say buried or they're in morgues in Tanzania. And I'm feeling so bad because the government is not coming out to ask for accountability of those Kenyans who are found in that fracas. Not all of them, or even, let me say, not all of them are in that election scenario, because there's nothing a Kenyan will benefit when Samia or Tini Lizu is in power, in terms of they're just there to do business. Whoever is in power is in control.
Yes. They
would even wish that Tanzania remains peaceful so that they're doing business. And just to summarize it, in the first, after the elections, 2 weeks in a marathon, there was a teacher who was teaching in some school in Arusha, and he died, and that story has been swept under the carpet. I don't know why. I don't know if they toned down the family, because I know our media is very sensitive, and if that body was found and brought to Kenya, that news could have been aired. But it really speaks of where did this story end, and what is the fate of Kenyans who are either alive or dead in Tanzania. If they are dead, why can't they give us our Kenyan bodies to be given proper send-off? If they are alive, why can the government negotiate so that if they are capable of any criminal charges, they are prosecuted either in Tanzania or in Kenya?
Or in Kenya, yes.
Yes, but on the larger scale, I like the progress this matter has taken. I saw the last time EU was very vocal on it. US has also been very vocal on it. But I want to notice the silence of the East Africa community. Unfortunately or fortunately, the chairman of East Africa community is our president. So we have had a loud silence from this issue, and that needs to I think we can sweep it under the carpet the way we swept the election under the carpet. But you see, on 9th it has recurred. There are even activists in Tanzania were considering to demonstrate on 25th, because 9th was a national holiday just like our Jamhuri. So the government had capacity to cancel it.
Yes.
But now on Christmas Day, the government does not have capacity to tell everybody stay at home. Yes. So every time this issue is being swept under the carpet, it will always reoccur. And that is the legitimacy of Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan.
Let's hear from Matthew.
So, yeah, it's like being sick, then you are postponing the treatment. The way Dr. has said, whatever the government of Tanzania is trying to do is trying to intimidate, those people who are feeling they are not part of the government, so that they can be forced to accept the government that is placed there, because the government is placed there. Those people who are running against Samia were the people whom Samia had funded them to run, because the main competitor were already in jail. So I think it's the same thing that he has said, unless the EAC, now East African Community. Now I'm very much happy to speak as a youth advocate of East African Community. I was there on 21st last month for a conference, and whatever is happening in Arusha is total fear. Everywhere, people fear even talking about what happened during election times, and you can see the whole picture when people are criticizing Larry, who has been doing the covering and all of those things. So this is something that should come to our attention, because at long run it is going to affect not only Tanzania alone, but it's also going to affect its associate, and the main associate here is Kenya, Uganda, those people that are together in EAC.
I don't know if you'll be able to go back.
Even to finish.
Actually,
if you go back, will you come back?
I had a plan to go to Tanzania. I think I cancelled.
You see, Tricia, I was reading a report lately that had been released by one of the companies that does statistics, and they were saying that the number of countries for the last 20 years, the number of countries that are actually under autocracies are higher than the countries that are in democracies. The number has risen. And I went further to investigate, because even in these democracies whereby we are seeing that the numbers, the countries that have full democracies are fewer, even in those countries, it's not full democracy per se, it is what we call soft authoritarianism. And soft authoritarianism, it's not full dictatorship, but it involves using the democratic process and democratic institutions for your own benefit, such that it borders between some kind of dictatorship and democracy. That is what they call soft authoritarianism. So when I look at what is happening in Tanzania, it's something that looks like democracy, not democracy. So it falls under the category of soft authoritarianism. And you see, as I was talking about social contract theory is the one that gives legitimacy to a government, meaning that me as a person, I give my rights to the government through voting or through any kind of representative framework, such that they protect me, and me, I do certain obligations as well. Now, this social contract theory is driven majorly by consent. So if there is the consent of the people, if the people have said that it's you, it is you. But if there is no consent, then it takes away the legitimacy of the process. Now, when you're talking about legitimacy, there is what we call the procedural legitimacy and the participatory legitimacy. The procedural legitimacy is more about, was the process open? Was it fair? Was it transparent? When I look at the case of Tanzania, procedural legitimacy was not there.
Questionable.
So, exactly. So if the procedural legitimacy was not there, we cannot talk about participatory legitimacy. You see? Exactly. So the people of TZ have all the right to go out to protest, because the government that is there is not legitimately there. They did not bring it into being. 2 minutes. They don't bring it into the show. They don't bring it into being. So I feel the fact that the government is also trying to suppress the rights of the people to express themselves, especially being told that they cannot go out to the streets, is really wrong. And I think this is why most of the countries actually are preferring military takeovers as compared to democracy, because democracy is declining.
Okay, thank you for your submission. And in that, you also reminded me of Benin, whereby there was that failed coup.
Yes.
And of course, we pray for peace in these countries. So as we are ending, I just want you to give your final remark as we end in just less than 1 minute each one of you, because time is up.
My final remark is we are in a festive season. Most of the workplaces are closing up next week. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and drive safe.
Mine, I wish each and every individual a happy life and a wealth mind. You know, when your mind is wealthy, your health will be also better. But I'll finish with a phrase from Peter Willenbotha from South Africa. He said, black people cannot rule themselves because if you give them guns, they will shoot themselves. Give them power, they will steal all the government money. Give them independence and democracy, they will use it to promote tribalism, ethnicity, bigotry, hatred, killings, and war. So let's not get there.
Thank you. In seconds.
Mine is to just wish everyone a Merry Christmas. I don't think we'll be coming here back again until next year, but it's also a moment for us to reflect on an individual capacity and also as a nation, the gains and the losses, and look for resolutions of these problems that we're having.
Thank you so much, guys, for coming. Mine also is to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, but I'll be here still on, is it 20th? Yeah, we have our last show next Saturday. We will be summarizing everything that has happened in the course of the year. So it's going to be big. So please